And we're live from Albany, Georgia. This is the Southwest Georgia Network and the Midnight Blitz Scoreboard show, the weekly overnight recap of high school football action in Southwest Georgia and South Central Georgia, or South Central Georgia, which is basically Valdosta, Lowndes County, surrounding areas there. And also, of course, Albany and surrounding areas. Pretty much the entire 229 area code. I'm your host, Walter Johnson. And hard to believe, 2 weeks of high school football action are now officially in the books. And as I'm talking live, so, again, lots to talk about, including, come from behind, last second win down in Camilla, and the Deerfield-Windsor Knights further down the road in Colquitt, Georgia, getting their first ever win as a member of the Georgia High School Association, and the Bainbridge Bearcats losing their season opener. And again, and one other thing, and a key game being canceled, sadly, due to coronavirus, and upon finding out that a head coach ends up testing positive for COVID-19, also has a couple of other underlying conditions, and lots to talk about. So let's get started. I think a good place to start would be down in Bainbridge, where the Bainbridge Bearcats opened their 2020 season at home, taking on the Coffee Trojans out of Douglas, Georgia. And the Trojans moved down from Class 6A to Class 5A. Bearcats dropped from Class 5A to Class 4A. And during the recent reclassification, and cutting right to the chase, and Coffee jumped out to a quick 10-0 lead, and then Bainbridge got on the scoreboard late in the first quarter with a safety, and then scored a touchdown. It was late first quarter, early second quarter, and then Bainbridge got on the scoreboard with a safety, and then proceeded to score a touchdown, and 2-point conversion was tied at 10, and then the Bearcats rallied from that early deficit to take a 16-10 lead at the half, and then was all Coffee in the second half. And as the Trojans scored 15 unanswered points, so actually, correction, make that 21 unanswered points. And you see, once Coffee got going, and they were just hard to stop. And final score: Coffee 31, Bainbridge 16. And the Bearcats start the season at 0-1 on the year. And see, next up for the Bearcats, a road trip east on US Highway 84 to Valdosta to take on the Wildcats. And as hard as it is to believe, and the Wildcats were supposed to go on the road to Tifton to take on the Tift County Blue Devils. Second game of the season for both teams, and Valdosta rallied late to knock off Warner Robins. Final score 28-25 in favor of the Wildcats, and Angel Martinez's long field goal, and broke a 25-all tie, and they rallied from a double-digit deficit to win 28-25. And the Wildcats were supposed to transition from playing the Warner Robins Demons to playing against the Tift County Blue Devils, and who lost in Cordele to Crisp County 7-0, in their season opener over a week ago on September 4th. But unfortunately, Valdosta's game against Tift County was canceled, and their head coach, Ashley Anders, fell ill and was admitted to Southwell or Tift Regional Medical Center in Tifton. And it's now go by the Southwell Medical Center, which is formerly Tift Regional Medical Center in Tifton. And he tested positive for coronavirus. Not only that, he also tested positive for the flu, or that's short for influenza, as well as pneumonia. So really, in a really a bad way. Obviously, it's some devastating news just led to the cancellation of that contest. So Tift County will be looking to face Thomas County Central next week, and more on the Yellow Jackets season opening game against Thomasville a little bit later in this program. And a quick reminder, you're listening to the Midnight Blitz Scoreboard show for the week of Saturday, September 12th, 2020. And let's see, I'm your host, Walter Johnson. And see, Tift County, as I mentioned, in their game against Valdosta in Tifton was canceled. And as of right now, then Tift County's next scheduled game will be at Thomas County Central. And the Yellow Jackets season got off to a rough start as they fell to their arch rivals, the Thomasville Bulldogs, in the battle for the Rose City. Final score, Thomasville 34, Tift County 7, and the Bulldogs bounced back quite nicely after losing that heartbreaker to Brooks County 20-14. And the Bulldogs fell behind 14-0, then tied it at 14-all, and then Brooks won in the final seconds. And Thomasville's now 1-1 on the season, and obviously it was a game that Thomasville sorely needed after that loss to a Brooks County team that made the drop from Class Single A Public, from Class Double A, and they were state runners up to Dublin, who also made the drop down from Class AA to Class Single A Public. And down in Quitman, it was Brooks County getting its second win in as many tries. And as the Trojans held off a late rally from the Cairo syrup makers. And the final score, Brooks County's 26, Cairo 24. And Cairo played two close games, unfortunately. And none of that effort resulted in any victories thus far for the syrup makers. And doesn't get any easier for Cairo. And it doesn't get any easier for Cairo because the syrup makers will face the aforementioned Thomasville Bulldogs at home next Friday, September 18th, over at West Thomas Stadium on the campus of Cairo High School in Cairo, Georgia. And then after that, the syrup makers will hit the road to face Dothan, Alabama, Dothan High School out of Dothan, Alabama. And then we'll face Pelham next week. And the Hornets traveled to Blakely, Georgia, to take on the Early County Bobcats. And Pelham last Saturday, September 5th, rallied from an 18-6 deficit and scored 18 unanswered points the rest of the way after trailing 18-6 to beat the Mitchell County Eagles 24-18. And about that game was none of those teams made a 2-point conversion, much less an extra point. But somehow Pelham found a way to win. And tonight, however, and the Hornets fell on the road to the Early County Bobcats. Final score 28-7 Pelham. So, in Pelham's record now sits at 1-1 overall. And Pelham returns to action next Friday, and COVID-19 permitting, against another team of Hornets and the Cook Hornets. And that game will be played in Adel, Georgia. And talking about in Mitchell County, and the big in the high scoring game down in Camilla between Class Single A Public Eagles from Mitchell County and the Class AA Rams from Worth County. And Mitchell County held a 30-20 lead with about 5 minutes to go in that game. And then, but somehow Worth County just rallied to Mitchell County managed to rally. That Worth County managed to rally down the stretch, scoring back-to-back touchdowns. And the last one with about 36 seconds to play. Really. So in the very late stages of that contest, and Worth County comes back to win 34-30 over Worth County comes back to win 34-30 over Mitchell County. It's just the first win in a huge upset for Worth County. And the Mitchell County team that began the season ranked 5th in the state in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, or in Georgia High School Football Daily Newsletter poll. But after the loss to Pelham last Saturday, Mitchell County fell to 8th, the number 8 spot in the state rankings. And I'm sure after that loss to Worth County, and the Eagles will drop out of the state rankings altogether. And it doesn't get any easier for Mitchell County, facing the Early County team, already off to a hot start at 2-0 on the year, and stomping Seminole County 28-7, and then getting the win over Mitchell County's biggest rival in Pelham. And seeing Region 1AA, it's already flexing its muscles in the early going. Region 1AA is already flexing its muscles in the early going. And C. Fitzgerald already off to a 2-0 start. And more on that in a moment. And Early County 2-0. And Thomasville with one win under their belt after the win over Thomas County Central. See, Fitzgerald, Early County, already bragging for early bragging rights. And see, Worth County is 1-1, and Berrien's 1-1, and going back to Fitzgerald, and the Purple Hurricanes are now 2-0 after knocking off defending Class Single A public school state champion Irwin County 21-6. And it seems like 21's been a lucky number for Fitzgerald so far this year, and the Purple Hurricanes held off Cairo 21-17. And this week they knock off Irwin County 21-6, and Irwin County is the defending state champion in Class Single A Public. And that game was played in Fitzgerald, despite the fact that Casey Soliday was sidelined. The new head coach, Casey Soliday, was sidelined after testing positive for COVID-19, and not only that, he also had the flu. Obviously, and we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and as many people already know by now, and this is a virus, the coronavirus, and it's not going to go away anytime soon, unfortunately. We'll probably be dealing with, as a matter of fact, we'll probably be dealing with this not only for the rest of 2020, but well, 2021, possibly even 2022, which I hope doesn't happen. But once again, Fitzgerald now 2-0 after knocking off Irwin County 21-6. And and you have Ashley Anders from Tift County, and in the hospital with COVID-19, and now Casey Soliday in the same situation. I'm sure they had someone to fill in for Soliday, and Casey Soliday replaced late Buddy Nobles, who last year led Irwin County to its first state championship since 1975, rolling past Marion County for the Single A Public School State Championship. But Irwin County, but he was unable to make that debut. And Soliday, and Nobles himself succumbed to cancer just weeks after Irwin won that state title over Marion County. And Marion County, by the way, rolled past Clinch County 34-7 down in Homerville, Georgia, in southeast Georgia, about an hour or so from Valdosta. A little bit closer to Waycross, however. Once again, Fitzgerald knocks off Irwin County 21-6. And head coach Tucker Pruitt and his squad will try to go to 3-0 next week, playing host to Turner County. And then the following week, they head up the road to Eastman, Georgia, to take on Dodge County. And then, and then wrap up non-region play on October 9th, hosting Pierce County. I'm thinking it will be interesting to see how this Fitzgerald squad will fare going forward for the remainder of 2020. And Fitzgerald comes in ranked third in Class AA, according to the AJC and GHSF Daily. And I'm looking through some of the other final scores involving teams in the Southwest Georgia Network coverage area. And before doing that, a quick reminder, You can visit the Southwest Georgia Network website at southwestgeorgianetwork.com. And you can also follow on Twitter at SWGA Network. Once again, that's the Southwest Georgia Network online at southwestgeorgianetwork.com. Also follow on Twitter, SWGA Network. There you can listen to live streams like the Midnight Blitz Scoreboard show. Also listen to the High School Football Run-Up podcast. It drops almost every Monday night, either late Monday night or early Tuesday afternoon, depending on how things go. And also the Southwest Georgia Network News podcast. And the only news podcast that's dedicated to Southwest Georgia. And really the only true audio, only news-related content that really focuses on Albany, Dougherty County, and surrounding areas. And that's the Southwest Georgia Network News. One more time, Southwest Georgia Network is online at southwestgeorgianetwork.com and on Twitter at SWGA Network. So I'm going to go ahead and move right along. And week 2 scoreboard. And going through the scores of all the other games in the Southwest Georgia Network coverage area. And starting on Thursday night, there was only one game played on Thursday night. And the America Sumter Panthers traveled to Columbus to take on the Hardaway Hawks in a battle of former foes in Region 1-4A. And the most recent reclassification sent America Sumter down to Class AAA, and where they'll be playing in Region 2. And Region 2 AAA and Hardaway remained in Class 4A or Quad A, but were moved from Region 1 to Region 2. And that turned out to be a good move for Hardaway, as they get to play with most, if not all, of their fellow rivals in Columbus, with the teams like Carver and Northside and Shaw, and you also have LaGrange and Troop up the road in LaGrange, Georgia, up Interstate 185 or I-185. In any case, it was Hardaway winning easily over America Sumter 33-3 on Thursday night. And America Sumter is back in action and traveling to Sylvester to take on the Worth County Rams. And in case you're just tuning in or listening to this a little later, and the Rams add a game against America Sumter next week. And soon America Sumter will travel to Sylvester next week to take on Worth County. And it should be a good game. And seeing the Panthers were scheduled to have back-to-back bye weeks. But apparently, it seemed like it worked out to where American Sumter and Worth County were going to play. And seeing and Worth County, as mentioned earlier, came from behind and to knock off Mitchell County down in Camilla. Final score 34-30, and the Rams rallied from a 10-point deficit to win by 4. and and after the game against America Sumter, and the Rams will be up in Macon to take on Rutland. And so a lot of games. This is a revolving door schedule for the most part. And so Worth County and America Sumter squaring off in Sylvester next week. And that should be a good game, hopefully, as good as the one between Mitchell County and Worth County. And I think if that game against America Sumter, if that game hadn't been added for next week, Friday, September 18th, and America Sumter would have had back-to-back bye weeks. And they're not playing again until October 2nd, opening Region 2 AAA play against Central Macon. That was a home game for the Panthers, and then Worth County would have been off until September 25th, taking on Rutland out of Macon, in Macon. And let's go through the rest of the scores here. And the Battle of the Charter Schools here in southwest Georgia took place in Baconton, Georgia, in northern Mitchell County, just south of Albany. And it was the Baconton Charter Blazers outlasting the Patola Charter Panthers. Patola is spelled Pataula, and the final score, Baconton 18, Patola Charter 8. And Patola already lost to Flint River in the Panthers season opener, 18-8. I mean, I think that was 18-8. And it was Patola Charter losing to Flint River out of the GHSA to open the season. And now the Panthers, Patola Charter Panthers out of Edison, Georgia, getting the victory, 18-8. I mean, actually, Patola Charter lost to Baconton Charter, 18-8. I already mentioned Cairo losing another heartbreaker to Brooks County, 26-24 to drop to 0-2. And the trio of Region 1 4A teams, along US Highway 84 and Bainbridge, Cairo, and Thomas County Central, all combined 0-4 on the season. Bainbridge 0-1, Cairo 0-2, Thomas County Central 0-1, all after losing. And so all three of those teams are combined 0-4 overall after the first 2 weeks of action. Of course, the other three teams that make up Region 1 4A, teams here in Albany, and the Darty Trojans, the Monroe Tornadoes, and the Westover Patriots, all ended up, and obviously they're still sidelined due to COVID-19. Darty County school system officials have suspended all play until the end of September. So that means neither Darty, Monroe, nor Westover will take the field until October 2nd. And by the time the trio of teams from here in Albany finally take the field, Bainbridge, Cairo, and Thomas County Central will have already had several games under their belt. And so going through the rest of the scores, already mentioned, Coffee and coming from behind in the second half, a 16-10 halftime deficit to beat the Bainbridge Bearcats 31-16. And up in Cordele, the Crisp County Cougars pitched their second straight shutout against a team from a higher classification. Last week they shut out the Tift County Blue Devils in a low-scoring game, 7-0. Tift County Blue Devils, Region 1 7A. And the score of that game was Crisp County 7, Tift County nothing. And this week, they pitched a shutout over the Houston County Bears, out of Middle Georgia in Region 1-6A. Final score for that game this week was Crisp County 12, Houston County nothing. Crisp County is now 2-0. And it seems like obviously that defense is the defense has carried the Crisp County Cougars so far in 2020. It'll be interesting to see if the Cougars can continue to keep up the good work throughout the rest of 2020. This is a Cougars team that reached the final game in Class AAA last year, losing to Cedar Grove out of the Atlanta area, Metro Atlanta area. And Cedar Grove is ranked number 1 in Class AAA, and they've yet to play a game this season. And seeing DeKalb County is and they've suspended all sports competition indefinitely, football included. And moving on to another score down in Colquitt, Georgia, the Deerfield-Windsor Knights from right here in Albany finally, cracked the win column in just their second game ever as a member of the Georgia High School Association. And the Knights defeated the Miller County Pirates by the final score of 20-14. In their first contest, Deerfield played Schley County tough, only to fall 8 points short, 29-21. And impressive win for the Knights and head coach Jake McCray. And McCray also gets his first ever win as the Knights head coach. So excellent win for Deerfield. It's a pretty good win. And next week the Knights head up to Americus, Georgia to face one of their former GHSA foes and the Southland Raiders. Also tough one in overtime to Terrell Academy in Dawson, 13-10. So a big win for the Knights, and they'll head to Southland Academy next week, and then to make it the week after that to face Tatlow Square. And the Knights don't return home until October 2nd, playing host to Savannah Christian out of the Savannah area. And then they'll head to Savannah the week after that to face Savannah Country Day. That's on October 16th. So, and the game against Tatlow Square, by the way, and that's a non-region contest. That's correction. Had to correct myself there. The game at Tatlow Square on September 25th. That'll be the Region 1-A private opener for the Knights. And that should be a really good test for Deerfield. So, and I think the Knights have a very good chance of winning a few games before all is said and done. In 2020. That is assuming COVID-19 doesn't further disrupt the schedule. I know people are getting tired of hearing about the coronavirus and the constant reports, but like the saying goes, it is what it is. And moving right along, I already mentioned the Early County Bobcats and knocking off the Pelham Hornets 28-7. The Bobcats now 2-0 on the season. And Fitzgerald picking up another win for Region 1 AA. And knocking off defending Class Single A Public School State Champion Irwin County 21-6. And it was the Lanier County Bulldogs picking up the 34-7 win over Berrien in a rout. Lanier County came off a win over Trutland to open the season at 1-0, and Lanier County is now 2-0. Still rather early. Really interested to see if Lanier County can hold their own against the likes of Berks County, Clinch County, Irwin, Turner, and the other teams in Region 2 Single A Public. In Leesburg, the Lee County Trojans and head coach Dean Parizio get off to a 1-0 start as they roll past the Maynard Jackson Jaguars out of Atlanta. Final score 44-0. Lee County over Jackson of Atlanta. Maynard Jackson of Atlanta. And Lee County will host Crawford County out of Middle Georgia next week. And down at Martin Stadium, aka the Concrete Palace in Valdosta, it was the Lowndes Vikings, and playing their second game in as many weeks, taking on the Griffin Bears out of Griffin, Georgia. And head coach Jamie DeBose now 2-0 as the Vikings crushed Griffin, cruised past them 45-6. And Lee County and Lowndes will meet down there at Martin Stadium in Valdosta in less than 2 weeks on Friday, September 25th of 2020. So this is already shaping up to be a very huge matchup. And I already mentioned Thomasville, 34-7 winner over Thomas County Central. And also Valdosta, Tift County. That game canceled due to COVID-19. And Valdosta will face Bainbridge at home next week. And after that loss to Coffee, it doesn't get any easier for Bainbridge. Taking on Rush Probst and the Wildcats. And it's it would have been interesting to see how Tift County team would have fared against Valdosta if it weren't for that virus. And okay, I already mentioned Worth County and rallying from behind late to knock off Mitchell County in Camilla 34-30. And seeing to wrap things up, you got here's the GHSA report. It was Frederica, a 36-13 winner over Valwood. And Terrell Academy, as mentioned earlier, knocked off Southland 13-10 in overtime. And this week, and the Eagles from Dawson go to 2-0 after outlasting Calvary Christian 19-13. And Tift area cracks the win column to open 2020 as the Panthers from Tift County, the tiny town of Chula, Georgia, roll past Community Christian 36-12. And finally, it was Westwood, a 30-6 winner over Dominion Christian. And on that note, that should end this week's episode of the Midnight Blitz Scoreboard Show for the week ending Saturday, September 12th, 2020. And the games were played on Friday, September 11th, 2020. Of course, and that was the 19th anniversary of 9/11. And this has been your host, Walter Johnson, reminding you to follow the Southwest Georgia Network online at southwestgeorgianetwork.com. And also follow on Twitter at SWGA Network. So, and hopefully, I'm going to try to come back next time and just delve even further into week 2 on the high school football. Delve further into week 2 on the High School Football Roundup podcast, which drops every week, every Monday at southwestgeorgianetwork.com. And once again, that's going to wrap things up for this weekend. And hopefully, and I'll be able to come back next time. And thank you for listening. This has been the Midnight with Scoreboard show. Have a good night, good morning, good afternoon. Have a good weekend. And one more thing, you can listen to the replay of this episode of the Midnight with Scoreboard show online at southwestgeorgianetwork.com. All right, thank you for listening, and have a good weekend. Goodbye.